swifter than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Alrighty, hey, that's Doctor Who, the new sonic screwdriver from the new Doctor Who coming out on October 7th right here. Yeah, I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I've been one since I was 12 years old. Now I'm 51, so I haven't grown out of that thing. There's a marathon on tonight. Why am I doing a freaking show when there's a damn marathon on? I have no clue. So anyway, this is Walter from iWalter. I'm looking at the camera for those who can see it. I had bought this a while back, but it was this little thing here. Let me see. That's the new Doctor Who you're seeing. She is a figurine. You can't buy it in the U.S. You have to buy it from England. No, man, it didn't cost so much, actually. It cost like, I think, $10 or something, because it's actually pretty well made. But, yeah, I got an action figure, the new Doctor Who. I've been collecting this stuff for years. It's not going to change. Dinner is my lovely lady in the background right here that I love. She played, I'm going to put this on the screen, she played in the movie The Nun, but this is from that Living Dead doll thing. So that's my other toy. I like toys. Matt knows that. So, and then I'm not going to lift it up because I'll have it a mess, but this was from Halloween 3. There's a tag I'm kind of jiggling around. I'm afraid if I pick it up, I won't be able to put him back. But it's the mask. I had the Halloween pumpkin mask, and I gave it to my friend because I couldn't breathe in it, for one thing. And it was a horrible, horrible replica. Like this mask here, of this skull mask, was in the Halloween 3 movie. And this one actually is a really good replica. And I try to look around for the cheapest price I could get with free shipping, and I was doing that for a while. And then finally I found somebody who was like not charging much at all. I'm going to lift this real quick and hope I can put it back so I can show people. And on the back you can see there's a shamrock, there was a shamrock in the movie, that these tags, when you wore them, on Halloween night, the shamrock tag on the back. Let me see if I can show you again. This tag on the back would actually activate and turn your head into mush, like maggots and other things, really disgusting bugs. So this mask is actually pretty well made. Again, usually they go for $50. I don't have $50. So I waited until I could really track one down. This one was fortunately brand new, pretty heavy, pretty well made. And when it was actually a price that was below by $10 or $20, it was like, okay, maybe I'll finally break down and buy this guy, because the skull mask, even though it wasn't as prevalent in the movie until near the end, it was still really awesome. So, see, that's why I didn't want to take him up. Now he's all happy. The mask, I'm just kidding. So anyway, why am I doing another podcast? Well, one thing was because I was listening to some of the highlights of Ken Matthews. I, kind of went through them. And I have 3 of them that I just pulled things that, to me, are important. To my friend Matt, it's not so important. He wants to know what the outcome is going to be from Kavanaugh and with this woman Ford. Now, my interest is, which I think is important to me, is the fact that this issue of women just dragging men through, that flicker in the background is the Doctor Who going on right now, just to let you know, because you can see a little flickering on the monitor on my video. And I'm not going to turn off Doctor Who. Hey, it's new ones. I'm not too fond of those. I'm actually looking forward to, let me show her again. I'm looking forward to our new Doctor Who, her. Jodie Whittaker. or is it Whittaker? I think it's Jodie Whittaker. I'm looking forward to Jodie Whittaker because she actually looks like she's going to be awesome. And it's been in the past. I don't know if they do that deliberately. Sorry, I'm scratching my head. That they just get like actors that are so really bad or just not that great that when you see anyone, even a piece of sliced bread would be a great actor. I'm just kidding. She is actually a very interesting, and I did see her in some other film. It was difficult to watch because of her dialect, I guess, or whatever, her accent being so strong of Jodie Whittaker's. But I actually enjoyed the film. She played some doctor, believe it or not, also on a different show. Actually, let me just kind of turn this around. So you've seen her from the front. This is her actual costume. And I have her on a little pedestal, by the way. But that attire, that coat, that's actually like garment clothing and everything like that, that is exactly what the actor is going to wear, or actor is going to wear. And she's going to have, actually that little action figure came with, and I'm telling you, I got it on Amazon. They only had so many left from Amazon UK. Did not cost me that much to buy her. And it was like, yeah, this would be definitely an add-on. And this wasn't that much. I think I bought this also from England around the same time. And let me see if I can push it again. That one button. Now, a lot of people don't like this one. It's a freaking toy, I understand, but I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I just like enjoying collecting anything that deals with Doctor Who. I've been like that since, again, 12 years old. And I'm still 12 years old, 51 years later or whatever. So anyway, because that's what my friend Matt would probably insinuate. I wanted to mainly go off. I just want to highlight these. Wow, they did a pretty bad job on the back of her trench coat. Oh, well. Not important. On Jodie Whittaker's back of her coat. She's got a little hoodie, too. You can go like this. It's pretty cool, see? Put her hoodie up. Yeah, I'll be playing with my toys. Wow, it looks like she might even have socks on. No, it isn't. They're painted on. Okay, so I'm going to play these three segments. And that's going to be the end of the show tonight. So like I said, 15, 20 minutes would be perfect. I did want to get back. I'm actually a little bit scared now, a little bit disappointed on this. But Hellfest, which I had no clue about, actually turned out to be pretty interesting. Let me be sure, because I don't have any, not that anybody needs to notice, I have no pants on. Where's your pants, Walter? I have no pants on, and I'm just too lazy. It's late at night, and I just, had washed up, had taken a shower, and making sure I didn't eat too much. And I didn't bother to put any pants on, so I am literally doing a show with no, I got underpants on, but yeah, call me Mr. Underpants, but no pants. Not that anybody really cares. Nobody listens to me, so why would anybody care? So anyway, Hellfest, that's what I wanted to get back to. I apologize. I'm great at digressing. Yeah, if I get this, if this came through a ratings, wait, this guy has no pants on, he's doing a radio show? Well, that's why I'm trying to keep the frame above where people can actually see that all I have on is a pair of underwear and a T-shirt. Hellfest, by the way, it was a low-budget film, and actually I'm not going to say it was, oh my God, this is the greatest horror movie I've ever seen of all times, because I can't say that. But I would say it was definitely a very interesting film. And that being said, what was I going to say? I was really pleasantly surprised. In fact, here's my hand. I'm not doing anything what do you call it? That I shouldn't be doing, because I have my hand down here. I'm just a nervous person, and I'm also Italian, so I use my hands and I just move them around, or I just kind of fiddle around on my desk where you can't see my hand. Well, you can see it here, but my keyboard's down below. So Hellfest was a low-budget film, and $5.5 million. That's low budget. You don't get any lower than that. Well, besides, if you would move the camera down and see I have no pants on. So I was really shocked after I read that after I've seen the movie. I was like, okay, I'm going in to see this dumb movie. I was going to use my movie pass, but wouldn't allow me to use it on a brand new film. Movie pass is a thing. You pay $10 a month and you get to see. You used to be able to see as many movies as you wanted. Well, that was costing too much money. Then they cut it back. Now, at this present time, to 3 movies a month. And I was like, well, I'll keep it for now. For how long, I don't know. Because sometimes there's a movie I want to see, and movies are like $15 when you see my regular price. For a standard movie, it's like $15. Okay, you can see them sometimes for 12 or 13, but when you add all those taxes and fees out on it, it's closer to 15. And then if you go see it in IMAX, then you're talking about, I'm trying not to move because in your seat I have no pants on. So, sorry. I'm moving around without trying to get above the eye level, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, sometimes if you want to see a movie in IMAX, that's going to cost like $30 almost for IMAX, just because you're going to see it on the bigger screen. So it's nonsense. That's the only reason I'm keeping Movie Pass for now. Going back to Hellfest, though, again, it costs $5.5 million. It's like, well, that's a drop in the bucket. It should be able to clear that. So it didn't, though. It only made, so far, I mean, it's Saturday night, live from New York. It's Saturday night. It only made $200,000, or no. Yeah, it looks like not even $2 million. Looks like, let's see. Looks like, well, that can't be right. Maybe it is like $200,000. So bottom line, it's not even cleared $1 million yet. So that's actually pretty scary, honestly, for a movie. Maybe I'm misreading the numbers because of the zeros. I'm not very good with that. Maybe it is $2 million, but to me it looks like $200,000. So either way, hey, if it did make $2 million, that's still pretty bad for a $5.5 million movie. Because again, even the worst movie on opening weekend makes about around $10 million. So when it makes less than that, that's pretty bad. So, and don't get me wrong, it is a very good film. Now, the thing that really, I mean, the ending of that film was just unforeseen. So I liked that. I liked the throwback they did. They did a couple throwbacks to 80s genre horror films. And I really thought those actors did a great job in the film, both the men and the women. So it's just an underrated film, and it's kind of really depressing that a film that actually is a very clever idea, people don't want to see that. They want to see a lot of blood, or they just want to see stupid nonsense and a lot of sex as well as violence. Well, this movie, not that I know of, there is no sex scene, so maybe that's the downfall. You got a horror movie, you want to see T and A and sex, and I don't think any of that stuff is in there. It's a clean movie, so almost. It does have a rated R rating, and that's because there was some pretty violent scenes in at least two parts of the film. So that's the downfall. And it is just a tad shy of an hour and a half by 1 minute. So any movie that's under an hour and a half generally is a kiss of death. I did enjoy seeing it in the movie theaters, but perhaps maybe they overstepped their boundaries, and by releasing it theatrically, maybe they should have just left it as a rental movie. I don't know, but it was perfect timing for Halloween, I'll tell you that much. And I actually really enjoyed it. Again, and the thing that actually got to me, it was produced by CBS, and I forget who else, but it has CBS on there, the television network. So, the thing though that really struck me, besides it being a low-budget film, besides it actually being a kickback to what I grew up with when I used to watch movies, if I rented them at the time at Blockbusters or somewhere else back in the day when they had video stores around the house. The other thing that just really threw me through the roof was this movie actually had taken the same core ingredients I mentioned to two friends that Tron did years ago. The original Tron, not the remake, but the original, the sequel, but the first movie of Tron. Tron was a whole marketing scheme, and how was that possible? How did they do that, Walter, for those who don't know? Well, Tron, when it came out, it says CBS Films. I'm looking at that for Hellfest. Tron actually did the clever thing of actually making arcade games. When arcades were still around and they were really big, they made those cabinet arcade games, and they made a game called Tron. And it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. It's a little cheesy, but I actually did like it. It was really funky looking. It had a big joystick, which you don't really see That was a custom-made joystick, and even the cabinet was custom-made for that particular game in the arcade. And it was expensive, too, I believe. I think that was like 50 cents. Most arcade games when I used to go were about a quarter, but I think that was 50. Maybe I'm wrong, 50 cents. So I know I used to plunk a lot of money when I would go down around the house, Plymouth Meeting Mall, King of Prussia. There was a steak shop right down the road, a place that had Philly steaks right down the street next to a Walmart. Now it's called a vape shop. It was this place, and they had the best freaking steaks in the world. I think they had Donkey Kong there. That was another one of my big things that I would put tons and tons of money in, was into this game called Donkey Kong back in the old days, the good old days. So anyway, I did remember playing it. We used to go down to Wildwood in New Jersey, and there was this ice cream shop right off the boardwalk that my mom especially, she's a ice cream fanatic. She loved it. So, anywho, she actually, what was I going to say? She actually, I'm drawing a blank. So anyway, she loved this ice cream shop, and I would go there too. But they had an arcade in there. They had like a little miniature golf course. It was down in Wildwood. So one of the games they had in there, I think that's when I first saw it. I can't remember the name of the ice cream shop, but I do remember this much, that it actually, I'm going to have to turn on my volume too, because I'm going to play these segments, and then I have to fix them later on in post. So what was gonna mention? Yeah, it was this ice cream shop. So they had the Tron game there. That's what I wanted to mention. I had the Tron game. I was like, whoa, this is really awesome. You got this cabinet that was really awesome looking. The games looked pretty unique, and it definitely drew the crowds in this ice cream shop where they had the Tron video game. And I'd be plunking money away on this damn thing. And it was like, okay, you had the throwing the discs, those light discs, whatever, and then you had those things that were light bikes or something, and it was like, wow, this is awesome. And then you heard about, the whole thing was what I'm trying to get to. It was a marketing scheme to get people into the game. So then when the movie was released, that, their advertisement was through releasing the video arcade game. So they put tons of money into all these, cabinet arcade games for a movie called Tron, because they were both related. So what you needed to do is you needed to play, you watched and you played the game for hours on end. Then you found out, wait, Tron's a movie, and you see the movie. It was like, wow, that guy actually got into the video game. This is so awesome. So it was a really good, again, marketing scheme, which actually worked pretty well, because they made that sequel, years later, probably like 20 or 30 years after the first film, because people still remember that as kids. And they grew up watching Tron, and they loved it. So how does Hellfest fit into this, Walter? Well, that's a really good question, by the way. And I'm actually going to be over 20 minutes because I'm already there now. Hellfest did the same thing, where it was a setup, and the scenes in the movie are actually at Six Flags. So it was like, wow, that's actually pretty clever. Again, it's a marketing scheme. The movie was a marketing scheme to get people to go to Six Flags, where you can go through the exact same haunted houses that were shown in the film. So they said, if you go, because you go to Hellfest's website, they said, well, go into the same haunted houses that were shown in the movie at Six Flags. And that was on the CBS website for the movie Hellfest. It was like, wow, that was really clever. Not only was it an interesting film, not only did it have, I thought, a clever outcome at the very end with the killer, but also it ties into, you buy tickets right now, you go to Six Flags. And I was saying to myself when I saw that film, by the way, I was like, you know what? You would not get me into these haunted houses that are in this movie, because they're scaring the crap out of me. And yet those haunted houses really do exist. It was a whole marketing scheme by making this film to, take a different twist for Halloween. And it was like, you know what? I think this is something that not exactly the same, but would who was it? Carpenter was trying to do years ago, making a different theme every year. But whoever decided the people who decided to make Hellfest, by the way, had taken it actually into a different direction, and I actually have to applaud them for doing that. They actually made a movie based upon a place you can actually go, Six Flags, and go through those exact haunted houses. How clever is that? I apologize for itching like I got fleas. I don't know what's going on tonight. So yeah, I'm just going to keep on begging. But you know what? The most I'll get as far as listeners is who will listen to this podcast and then say, "Oh my God, I better go see Hellfest." Will probably be approximately between 1.5, possibly 2 people. So it's not going to be enough to get them out of the the red zone they're in now with this movie of not doing very well. I don't even think it's going to come in number 1. If it does, that just meant that there was like really bad movies out during the course of the weekend. So, and it's a shame because, again, I consider that movie a sleeper film, if you're familiar with that term. So anyway, I'm going to play these segments, and I'm going to let people decide for their own, from Ken Matthews, what they think. I thought I heard a door. So I'm going to play the first one. I'm trying to decide which order I want to go into, because 2 of these are women that were rape victims. It sounded like one was a definite rape victim. The other one was also in that category. And then there's something Ken Matthews mentioned about Democrats. So maybe I better go in the order of playing the first one where it's about the Democrats. So these are kind of long, but not that long. Let me check. And this is going to be kind of painful for everybody. Looking at the time slots of these things. No, I'm not doing a very good job. So guess what? I'm just going to play these, and I'm going to start with the one where I marked it as Ken Matthews basically voices out about the Democrats, and you will hear it. And hopefully, I'm hoping you will enjoy it as well. So we'll see. So I'm going with this. I'm going to use my Vox program. See what
85 professional women came forward, wrote letters, professionals that he worked with. That doesn't matter to the Democrats. 65 schoolmates, both college and high school, wrote letters. That doesn't matter to the Democrats. And obviously, the women that Bill Clinton raped doesn't matter to the Democrats. Or the women that Bill Clinton assaulted doesn't matter to the Democrats. Or the cover-ups that Hillary helped with doesn't matter to the Democrats. This is why it's so important you hear the testimony.
Okay, that was number 1. Now, you heard that, right? I hope so, because I'll fix it in post. But, yeah, there are certain things I didn't honestly know about with Bill Clinton. Well, some of it I knew about Bill Clinton, but Obama and stuff, and they just kind of push it under rugs. That was Ken Matthews, by the way, on, I believe it was on, that was on this past Friday, it was on Friday, so it was only like yesterday, my time. It's still, I guess, right? Yeah. So whenever you listen to it. But it was like, it was Friday's show, and he was covering the court case live. Actually, it could have been Thursday, so let me take that back and say it was probably Thursday, because that's when actually the court case had taken place. And he was broadcasting live, not from the place that the court case was taken between Kavanaugh and Ford, but it was actually, he was broadcasting whatever was being broadcasted to everybody else. So he wanted people to listen in. So anyway, that was number 1. So now I want to play, these are a little bit longer. I do want to play a surviving rape victim that is really interesting. So let me know what you think about this one. And here we go. I'm going to pop this up right now. Let me know.
And I want to thank Laura, who we're going back to. Laura in Harrisburg is nice enough to stay on hold during that long news block. And Laura, I want to welcome you back to the show. You are a sexual assault survivor, and you have an observation on what's been happening at the Kavanaugh hearings. And thanks for holding. Go ahead.
No problem. I'm not going to call myself a survivor. I'm not going to minimize what anybody else has been through, but I'm going to tell you, sexual harassment happens. Men do what they do. I'm not going to make excuses at all, but things are different now than they were back when I was first sexually harassed. But I didn't come back years and years later and take the guy's pension away from the military, or call the guy from the state senate and say, look, you sexually harassed me back in 1998. Let's deal with it now. No, I should have dealt with it then.
Let me ask you something. Do you believe there's a difference? And I certainly see a difference. I think we're talking about different things here. The difference between sexual harassment versus sexual assault versus rape, obviously. I mean, there's so many different, sadly, there's these different categories. It sounds to me like you're talking about sexual harassment.
Well,
right?
now my 14-year-old's in the car, so I will tell you I was raped by the guy in the military when I was in ROTC. But now my son's in the car now. He gets to hear this. But you know what? I'm not going to go back on that now. That was in 1993. I'm not going to go back on that now. That's intention.
What kept you from moving on that then? I mean, is there anything that you can relate to that we saw yesterday with Dr. Ford? What kept you quiet back in 93?
I guess I didn't want my grades to be affected because it was ROTC and I got a grade for it. And I didn't want my grades to be affected by the fact that he did that. And I didn't think that I would be believed. It was a he said, she said situation. But I'm not going to go back there now and, accuse him of this crime. It's not my business to do that how many years later. I should have done it then.
What is your take on Blasey Ford? Do you think she has a legitimate accusation against Kavanaugh? Do you think she's mistaken?
To be honest with you, up until when I listened to it on the radio, I listened to it on HP, and yeah, I think she's very credible. However, I can't say that she knows exactly who did what to her. I think someone did something to her. I just don't see how she can possibly know from when she was 15, 16 years old in high school exactly who it was, unless it was a date rape situation where she knew his name exactly. I don't think she can possibly remember who it was. However, I think something happened to the woman. I just don't think that it was him. Or if it was him, go ahead.
I would agree. No, I think she definitely experienced some trauma, and it was of a threatening or sexual nature. And I just think there's too many gaps in her story. And if we use these accusations without something you can substantiate them with, I mean, this could change the whole dynamic of the planet. We could just go around making stuff up and saying things about everybody every day, and lives and careers would be ruined.
My 14-year-old son's sitting right next to me right now. Somebody could say something about him, and his entire life could be changed because some girl decided to say he raped her. And to be honest with you, there's a young lady in my daughter's class who's accused 2 boys of raping her, and she's admitted to my daughter that it's a lie.
All right. Now, that was the main part I wanted people to hear. Now, this was a rape victim, and you heard that, I should say, I hope, that there's a woman that she has 2 sons, I believe, or a son and a daughter, and she mentioned that someone in her daughter's class, at least, had accused young boys before, her age, boys of accusing these guys of raping her, and she admitted that she was lying about it. So this is really scary. And, I've said this before, and it seems like it's a joke to most people. To me, this is more as serious. This is more serious to me, not to anybody else like my friend Matt. But this is very serious. When you make accusations or you incriminate people and you falsely accuse them of something as horrible as rape, you ruined that person's life. Their life is never going to be the same. You just destroyed that person's life. And yes, in Kavanaugh's situation, it's the same exact thing. But it needs to be recognized on a larger scale. It doesn't stop with political figures. It happens, and you're ruining ladies. Not every female out there, but certain women out there don't realize what they're doing, as what the consequences are for what they're doing. They don't realize the actions they are creating with these people's lives. So, like, you're going to destroy a person's life. You might as well just kill them at that point, because they're going to always be recognized or looked at as being some type of sexual predator, and that's horrible if it's not true. So anyway, I got one more to go. I'm just looking. I got some what do you call it? Email. So anyway, let me play this last one, and that will be the show for tonight. How's that? 30 minutes, though. It's a lot longer than I expected. So here we go.
This is a special edition of the Ken Matthews Show live, as Brett Kavanaugh is answering questions and taking questions from the Senate Judiciary Committee. They're resuming in approximately 10 minutes or less. Going to take some phone calls. We're going to go back to them live. I think it's very instructional what we're hearing, unedited. In my opinion, we're hearing how petty the Democrat Party has become. I want you to be concentrating on this. If they can go back to Judge Kavanaugh's yearbook and hold jokes he was making about drinking or flatulence or throwing up over his head, what is in your yearbook? What were you doing when you were 16 or 15? I'm not talking about sexual assault. I'm talking, were you drinking too much? Were you smoking the Mary Jane? Did you get in a fight? Did you get in a fight with someone and it got out of hand? I don't know. It's all coming back. The Democrats will dig it up, especially if you're a conservative. Let's go to Diana in Millersville, first-time caller. You're on WHP 580. Diana, what do you think about this coverage so far?
Oh, it's appalling. It's absolutely appalling. And Ford is lying. She has to be. My BS detector was going crazy listening to her. Women don't stay traumatized for decades over something like this. You get over it, you move on. And I think she's lying. It wasn't Kavanaugh. If she was assaulted, it wasn't him.
And I want to mention, too, if I can, just interrupt for people who haven't been following it as closely as you or I have, Diana. She was not raped. She was not raped. Her clothing never came off. So, yes, I'm sure it was traumatic, but the fact that she's testifying as if something really horrible. I know people personally that horrible things have happened to, and I'm sure you do as well.
Yes, it happened to me. You don't stay traumatized for decades. It's just not like that. It's not like that, and she's lying. I mean, you listen to her and she starts spouting this, pseudo-scientific stuff about memory. She's off the wall. I think she's an attention-seeking lunatic. And the more I listen to Brett Kavanaugh, the more I like him. He's one of the good guys. I hope.
Well, thank you.
On.
Thank you for calling, Diane. I appreciate your candor as well.
All right. This is the end of the show now, because I wanted to play that. Now, my one friend Matt said, I discussed this with him with Ford, and I said, I think the woman's nuts, and he said that was a little bit too strong. But you heard it there. This is a woman who's a rape victim. She did say, hey, I've been sexually assaulted as well, and she thought that the woman, Ford, is just a mental, nuts. She's nuts. And she's a liar looking for attention. So, want to point that out. I'm not the only one who thinks this way, and I don't think it's just me and this other woman. I think it's many. Thank goodness, thank God, there's other women out there who think the same way I do. Not that that's a good thing, but I'm just saying, folks, have a good night. This is Walter from iWalter, and I hope you enjoyed my small segment for tonight. Have a good one.